You design your fabric for your bow ties.
How do we design it?
Yeah.
So at the moment, we're not doing that much design for it. We just use offcuts. So
Oh,
it's
okay. So this print existed. You just used an offcut to create the.
yeah. So it's kind of like reducing waste, kind of. And so we won't almost or pretty much everyone is one of a kind because we get a small amount of fabric and then we won't see that fabric again because fabrics are always being like updated and changed.
That's cool. That's awesome. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, like I mean, we've got artists like Tapua to paint on blank bow ties for us, just as something like even more unique. And I've definitely dabbled with the idea of like doing our own designs or like allowing people to design something online, but just like right now in Zimbabwe, that would be very hard to set up the printing and that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
and
yeah, for sure.
I've kind of like my box for creativity or like my limitation that I've put on the business is like it needs to be sustainable or like eco-friendly kind of thing. So like printing large amounts of fabric is often like pretty pretty detrimental to the environment. But there are ways to do it like eco-friendly, but that's really hard to do because new technology there. So yeah,
and I'm not sure. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's tough. It's like maybe not good for business because it's like the limits how many you can actually make, but at the same time, it forces you to get creative, like putting up those boundaries. So it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And this is when AI can help you. Just ask ChatGPT, how can you solve your production?
For sure. For sure. Yeah, I kind of wonder if people are going to get like AI fatigue or like manufactured like digital fatigue and like even just manufactured stuff fatigue, like because there's going to be so much. I suppose potentially if it's super niche and super customized to them, then they'll be like,
What do
okay.
you mean manufactured stuff?
Well, so let's say books for example, but people aren't going to get over books. But I wonder how much value will be placed. I mean, there's a lot of value already placed on handmade stuff. Yeah, it's been made by AI, or I mean, this is already the case, right? Like manufactured versus handmade, and people just buy manufactured. So it's probably not going to be a problem. People don't care how stuff is made. Unless they study design, people don't care.
Yeah, but the handmade stuff is always worth a lot more than the manufactured stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And I wonder that might become even more so. I wonder. Like
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
like
Like photography, for example, because AI can do amazing photography, that doesn't mean that value of actual photography is diminished. It might actually increase it because now you've got an influx of images you can't really tell whether they're real. Like you saw those images of Trump and the Pope. You can't tell those aren't real, right?
Yeah.
Digitally, they're all pixels. So, but I feel like if someone actually took a photograph of the Pope, a real life photograph, the value of that is now much higher because anyone can create a photograph of the Pope.
Yeah, it's interesting.